In this build along tutorial, we'll be creating a mount for the Arduino Uno that sits on the back of the SparkBot robot. Once you've got FreeCAD open, begin by creating a new part in the Part Design workbench. From the Tasks tab, create a new body, create a sketch, and we're going to create that sketch in the XY plane. We're going to begin by creating a rectangle that's symmetric around the origin. We will make it symmetric by left-clicking on the top left corner, left-clicking on the bottom right corner, and left-clicking on the origin. Then we will hit Constrain Symmetric, and now the rectangle is symmetric around the origin. We're going to set the width of this rectangle to 75 millimeters, and we're going to set the height of the rectangle to 58 millimeters. Before we close this out, we're going to add 4 circles. These are going to be the holes that we mount the Arduino Uno to the SparkBot support frame for the 6-volt battery pack. We're going to start by making the 2 top circles by left-clicking in the center of both of them. We're going to make them constrained to the same horizontal plane. So when I move one circle, the other circle moves. We're going to do the same thing by clicking in the center of the 2 bottom circles. We will again constrain them to the same horizontal plane. And now we're going to constrain the left-hand circles to the same vertical plane. So left-click in both of those and constrain them vertically. And we're going to do the same thing on the right-hand side there. And we will constrain those vertically. Now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to make the top circles symmetric around the origin. Symmetric around the y-axis. So left-click in the top 2 circles. Lastly, left-click on the y-axis and constrain symmetric. And now they will move as a group like this. We're going to set the distance between the top and bottom circles by left-clicking in both of them. And we will set that distance to 35 millimeters. And the last thing that we need to do is we need to lock this bottom circle with reference to the bottom left vertex of the rectangle here. So I'm going to start by constraining its vertical distance here. And its vertical distance is going to be constrained to 6 millimeters. Just move that out so it's easier to see. And we're going to constrain its horizontal distance to 3 millimeters. And we need to now set the diameter of our circles. We're going to left-click on all of these circles and constrain them equal. So now they all have the same diameter. And now to set the diameter for all of them, we just click on one of them, and we will constrain the diameter to 3 millimeters. So at this point in time, our sketch is fully constrained. We've got 4 circles that we will use to mount this Arduino platform to the back of the SparkBot, so we can close out of the Sketcher workbench. And we're going to pad this shape out to 3 millimeters. Now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to add a couple of additional holes to the top of this platform. So left-click on the top face and click on Create Sketch. And these 2 holes are going to go in this quadrant and this quadrant. So quadrant 1 and 3. And we're going to start by setting the horizontal distance between these 2 holes. And we'll set that distance to 52.25 millimeters. And we're going to set the vertical distance between them to 32.5 millimeters. We're going to make it so that both circles have the same diameter. And we're going to set that diameter to 3.3 millimeters. So constrain diameter, 3.3 millimeters. And all that's left now is to lock the position of these circles with respect to the bottom left-hand corner of our rectangle. And so I'm going to use the Create External Geometry tool. I'm going to bring in the left-hand edge of our mounting block here. And now I will left click in the center of this bottom circle. I'll left click on the bottom edge of this line segment. And I'm going to set the horizontal distance to 13 millimeters. And I'm going to set the vertical distance to 6 millimeters. And these are going to be two holes that the Arduino actually mounts onto the four holes that we made earlier. That's for mounting the mount to the SparkBot. So these are going to be the Arduino holes. So our sketch is fully constrained, so we can close out of this. Just make that a little bit easier to see. So we can close out of this, and we will pocket these holes. And 5 millimeters easily clears the 3 millimeter pad we've created. And now we're going to add another couple of features on the top. We're going to create a couple of pins, and we're going to create a couple of risers. So left click on that top face, create sketch, and we're going to use the create external geometry tool, and we're going to reference these circles that we just finished making. So hover over it, bring that in. So there's our two circles. And now I'm going to create 4 more circles. So I'm going to create my first circle so that it coincides with that referenced edge. I'm going to do the same thing up here. So now I have 2 circles that have 3.3 millimeter diameters, and as we can see, those 2 circles are fully constrained. Now I'm going to make 2 more circles around those. And so there we are. And now in the quadrant 2 and quadrant 4, I'm going to make 2 more circles. All right, so let's constrain these. I'm going to constrain the horizontal distance between these left-hand circles. I'm going to give it a horizontal distance of 2 millimeters. And I'm going to constrain the vertical distance between them to 48.75 millimeters. Now these measurements come from measuring the distance between the holes on the Arduino Uno. Next, we're going to work on the right-hand holes here, and we're going to align these 2 circles so that they're on the same vertical plane. And we're going to constrain the vertical distance between those 2 circles to 28 millimeters. So let's grab those here. There we are, 28 millimeters. Right click to clear my tool. And now I'm going to set the diameter of these, the bottom left hole and the top right hole. So we're going to constrain those equally. And now I'm going to set the diameter of that bottom hole to 5 millimeters. So now we've got a riser that has a 5 millimeter outer diameter and a 3.3 millimeter inner diameter. So we have 2 of those. And then for these other 2 circles here, these are going to be pins that hold the Arduino from moving. And we're going to set these to have a diameter of 4 millimeters. And we'll set these 2 circles to be equal. So constrain equal. There we are. So they now both have a 4 millimeter diameter. So this sketch now is fully constrained, and we can close out of the Sketcher workbench. So we're going to pad out these features now by 2.5 millimeters. So there we are. And so this will raise the Arduino Uno up off the platform so that none of the pins on the back of the circuit board cause the Arduino Uno to sit at kilter, so it's not sitting flat. All right, so this will raise the Arduino Uno up. The last thing that we're going to do is we're just going to add a couple of smaller pins here. These are going to be the pins that actually lock into the Arduino Uno's holes. So we're going to add some circles on top of these. So click on the top face of one of these pedestals and click on Create Sketch. And we're going to use the Create External Geometry tool, and we will reference these two circles that we just finished making. Right click to clear my tool. And now I'm going to make two circles on top of these. So left click right in the center, and it's wanting to snap to the outside ring there. So I'm actually going to make it bigger than I need, and I will constrain the diameter of these circles down in just a minute. So there we are. So I've made these circles much bigger than I need. I'm going to left click on both of these circles, and I'm going to constrain them equally. And now I'm going to set the diameter of one of these circles, and I'm going to set it down to 2.8 millimeters. And so now we have two circles here sitting on top of these pedestals that we created. The sketch is fully constrained, so I can close out of it. And now I'm going to pad out these pins by 2 millimeters. And there we have it. Here is a mount that will nicely hold the Arduino Uno, and we can use these edge holes to attach the mount to the SparkBot.